Nobody told me how much this job would mess with my head, or how often I would walk away from sessions thinking, did I even help? Hi, I'm Albert. I'm a mental health therapist, and after 10 years of sitting with thousands of people, kids, teens, adults, and even families, I'm gonna share with you 10 things I wish someone told me before I became a therapist. Number 1, you will constantly be humbled by how much you don't know. The more I do this work, the more I realize how complicated people are, how messy families can be, how deeply physical health, trauma, culture, environment, all of it affects mental health in ways no textbook ever prepared me for. There is a world of conditions, variables, and lived experiences I've never encountered, and you have to learn to sit with that uncertainty, to hold space for people, even when you don't have the perfect insight, the right question, or the most elegant response. But here's what matters. You don't have to have it all figured out. What you do need is a growth mindset. The best therapists don't learn from just the wins. We learn from the hard moments, the awkward silences, the sessions that don't land, the times we miss the mark. That's where the growth happens. That's when we learn where our blind spots are, and instead of running from it, we lean into it. Setbacks don't shame us. They sharpen us. You have to be the kind of therapist who reflects, who adjusts, who's not afraid to admit when something isn't working. The kind of therapist that can leave your ego at the door to practice humility. Failure isn't the end of the road. It's just part of the training. That's what makes the work better. That's what refines the process. Number 2, you can't save everyone. This was one of the hardest things I had to work through, especially early on. We care so much and we want to help so badly, so it makes sense. I started out working with high-risk populations, foster youth, juvenile probation, addiction recovery, the homeless population, and I was with many of them for years, sometimes 3 years straight. I've spent more times with some of these people more than my own families and friends. I showed up through the relapses, the resistance, the pain, and I used to believe that if I tried hard enough, cared enough, or said the right things, I could possibly save them, help them change their lifestyle, or help them think differently. But change doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes healing is invisible. Sometimes it's just surviving the day. I had to redefine what success meant, because I learned that even if I didn't see massive breakthroughs, the fact that I kept showing up, that mattered. When people are suffering, what they remember most is who stayed. The famous therapist Irvin Yalom said, "Every therapist needs to accept the limits of their power." And that is something that has stuck with me. We're not saviors. We're companions in the dark. And sometimes that's everything. Number 3, you will be triggered. Your own traumas, your own unresolved issues will surface, sometimes unexpectedly, sometimes over and over again. You will sit across stories that will echo your own. I have worked with sex offenders for several years, people who sexually abuse kids. And as someone who's survived sexual abuse myself, as you can imagine, those sessions were some of the most confronting moments of my life. It shook me, but it also opened my eyes to the complexity of trauma, to the darker corners of the human psyche, and honestly to parts of myself I hadn't fully faced yet. At first, it's unsettling, but over time, you realize this is the work. Helping others heal becomes a mirror for your own growth, and if you let it, it transforms you. Number 4. The connection is real and it's messy. You will naturally care more than you expected. You will feel protective, frustrated, proud. You'll think about your patients outside of your sessions. You'll hope for them and you'll hurt for them. That emotional investment doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're showing up with your humanity intact. The connection you build, it's real. It might not be the love in the traditional sense, but it's something sacred. It's presence, it's compassion, it's a deep attunement. But here's the line you never cross. Boundaries must remain sacred. You can care deeply. You can still protect the container. That's the only way this work can stay safe, honest, and effective for them and for you. Number 5, techniques matter, but rapport heals. CBT, IFS, DBT, EMDR, all the tools and modalities we learn in training, they matter. They give us a roadmap and some directions in treatment, but none of it works without rapport. And rapport, that starts with empathy. Empathy is by far the foundation of therapy. It's what creates safety. It's what tells someone, you're safe here. I see you and I'm with you. And from that safety, real change becomes possible. When you don't know what to say or the technique doesn't land, lean into empathy, because long after the tools fade, what people remember most is how you made them feel. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be human. And if you're going to master anything, start with empathy. The rest builds from there. Number 6, you will question your worth often. There will be days when you will feel like a fraud, sessions where you leave thinking, did I even help? You will have people who ghost you after one session. Families you work with will tell you to your face, you're not doing enough. Outcomes that don't match the efforts you poured in. I've experienced all of that. You will wonder if you're doing the right thing, if you're even cut out for this. But listen, those thoughts don't mean you're failing. They mean you care. In the work, it still matters. Even when you can't see the impact, something inside of them is shifting. Look, you may never get the thank yous. You may never know the difference you made, but you were there. You showed up, and that always matters. I have gotten emails and letters from past patients that I didn't even realize I made that much of an impact until they reached out to me. So don't let doubt stop you. You matter, and the work you do in therapy, it matters more than you know. Number 7, being a therapist is tough on your body and your mind. I have done home visits, site visits, and put myself in physically dangerous situations. I've handled crises where someone was threatening harm to themselves or to others, including me. It's not just physically draining, it's mentally heavy. Because when you sit with people in their darkest moments, day after day, year after year, it starts to shift your own beliefs too. You start to question, is the world safe? Can people be trusted? Is change even possible? It's called vicarious trauma. And if you're not careful, it chips away at your hope. There's also something called compassion fatigue. The more you give, the more depleted you can become. Especially when you're holding space for dozens of patients a week. Especially when you're working in systems that push productivity over care. Early on, I had to learn the hard way. If I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of anyone else. I can't be effective that way. You have to get good at knowing your own emotional limits, learning how to manage your distress, and asking for help when you need it. It's not optional. This is a moral obligation. And let's be real, most agency jobs, they expect caseloads of 25, 35, even 40 plus patients a week. That's not sustainable. That's not mental health. You cannot maintain a high standard of care with that many patients. You will get burnt out. You can't represent mental health if your own mental health is falling apart. And that's why many of us eventually go off on our own and become our own boss. But that is another story for another time. Number 8. One of the hardest parts about this work is that it changes the way you connect with people. These are things most people don't ever see, and I wouldn't wish them on anyone. But when you've spent years in this work, sitting with that level of pain and truth, it shifts something inside of you. It can make it harder to connect with everyday conversations, not because you're better or wiser, but because you've simply been in different rooms. You've been exposed to many different things. You've had different conversations. You've carried different kinds of silence. I've talked to kids as young as 6 who thought about ending their own life. I've sat with people who've contemplated murder. I've worked with kids dying of terminal cancer who knew they were dying. I've talked to people of all ages about grief so raw, it changed the way they breathe. And after years of that, it changes you. You will find that many people will not understand. In that disconnect, it can feel lonely. But if you're lucky, you'll find your people. For me, that's been other therapists, colleagues, people who are deeply spiritual or have done their inner work. Some of the best humans I know. They're not just good listeners. They know when to validate, when to challenge, when to sit with you in the dark without trying to fix you. Just being there, that's special. And in a field that can feel isolating, that kind of community, it's vital. They're not just support systems. They're self-care in human form. They remind you why you do what you do. And more than that, They inspire and ground you to keep becoming a better human being. If you have those people, hold them close. And if you don't, keep looking. We're out here. Number 9. Most therapists don't get rich doing therapy. No good therapist I know came into this field for money. This work found us. We were already searching for answers for healing, whether in ourselves, our families, or the world around us. We felt the suffering and wanted to be part of a solution. That kind of calling, it's noble, and I respect that deeply. But here's the hard truth. Purpose doesn't pay the bills. Agency work, no matter how meaningful, often doesn't provide the financial freedom we need. So burnout is real. And for most of us, the path to decent income only comes if you climb into management, something that many therapists never wanted in the first place. So here's my advice. The longer you're in this field, the more valuable you become. You're like fine wine, aged in empathy, sharpened by experience. Don't be afraid to own your worth. You are the business. Your brain, your heart, your lived and clinical experience. That's value. Build multiple streams of income. Don't just trade hours for dollars. Step outside the traditional box. When you begin to think like a mission-driven entrepreneur, you stop playing small. You stop burning out. You start creating a life where you serve and thrive. And the ripples you create will continue to expand far beyond what you can imagine. And number 10, don't just work with cases you feel comfortable with, especially early on. You don't actually know what you're capable of yet. It's tempting to stay in your comfort zone, but some of the most transformative moments for you and your patients will come from the work that scares you a little. The cases that challenge your assumptions, your skill sets, and your emotional bandwidth. Lean into that discomfort. Stay open. Stay curious. Even if you walk away realizing this isn't for me, you'll still leave with something invaluable. Insights, resilience, compassion, and a deeper capacity to hold space for people whose pain doesn't look like yours. Because every hard case expands your lens. And that's what makes you better, not just as a therapist, but as a human being. So here's what I will leave you with. Never stop learning. Get training, read, stay curious, evolve. Therapy is some of the most meaningful, noble work you can do. And I don't take that responsibility lightly. Most of us didn't come into this field chasing money or status. If you're anything like me, you felt something, a pull. You noticed the suffering in the world, maybe even in your own life. And instead of staying silent or being a bystander, you chose to step into the work. This isn't just a job, it's a mission. And we have the incredible privilege of helping people through some of the most painful, transformative, and courageous moments of their lives. We get to witness them come home to themselves. We get to walk alongside them as they grow. What an honor that is. So cheers to you. If you're a therapist watching this, you have my respect. If you're just starting out or thinking of joining this field, drop a comment below. And if you're a seasoned therapist, share your wisdom. What do you wish you knew before becoming a therapist? If this video resonated with you, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and stick around because I'm here to celebrate mental health, make psychology human, and help you keep showing up with heart.